Hello, everybody. To those who don't know, my name is Jeff. I'm core module on IRC. Been with Fedora QA for about 3 years now, and I thought that this talk would be good to kind of jumpstart anybody who hasn't messed with testing anything. I know you're at Flock, so you probably have a good idea about what Fedora is, what a compose is. So a lot of this we will gloss over. And if we get to the end, I think we could just have a question and answer, maybe?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
And then Suprith.
So, yeah, hello all. So my name is Suprith, and I'm not a full-time QB for Fedora. I work for Red Hat since last 5 years, and Fedora I just participate. I'm just working on it since last, I think, Fedora 27. And so my contribution to this was contribution as in my association with Fedora is like I participate in test days, upload the results, file bugs, talk to people, get the ways to test, update the wikis, and follow the process. So, so before we start, how many in the room are QE who work with testing? Fantastic. And who are not? There are two to three people. Anyone who wants to do the QA and has not done anything yet in Fedora? You have not done? Okay, good. So to get started, yeah.
Sure. We've got a general outline of what we're going to talk about. It'll be fairly high level. There will be some tips and tricks that I've found valuable and that Suprith has found valuable. The technical side, human side, and then, like I said, if we get through it quick, we'll just jump to some questions. So as far as actually testing goes, you need two things, a Fedora account and a Bugzilla account. Does anybody here not have a Bugzilla account? Or a Fedora account for that matter, but you're at Flock, so. Okay. So this is why we test, ultimately, to make a better end product. This is from the Fedora 29 release, these blurbs I found on Reddit. Great job, Fedora, you guys, amazing. Keep up good work, okay? Great, things have really come around. A bug that was affecting like YAM was fixed last week, and so the laptop I upgraded isn't having issues anymore. So helped somebody there through testing. I upgraded today, and it seems very solid. This is my favorite. I want to switch from Ubuntu 18.04 to Fedora 29. I'm going places. So what is a compose? I imagine we all have an idea, but it's a compilation of packages that are pushed together into a bootable image. Ideally, it happens each day. It's rawhide until it is branched into the next numbered Fedora release. And with each compose comes an opportunity for testing. Testing that compose, testing those packages that have been rolled together. And that's where validation testing comes in. I think this might be you. Oh, there we go. So 4 key things. Validation testing, testing each compose. Reporting bugs using Bugzilla. Updates testing, testing individual updates. And test days. So validation testing, like I said, is testing a certain compose, whether it be rawhide, an individual compose that happens each day, or a numbered compose on a milestone like beta or final. And we test each compose to meet the release criteria, which are a set of guidelines that are pre-set up that say, for the beta release, there must not be these kind of bugs or these kind of errors. And for the final release, there shouldn't be these kinds. And so that is how we determine if something is a bug worth blocking the release on, is whether or not it violates the release criteria, which makes it a lot easier when you get towards the end or towards the hard dates to pick whether or not we can continue with this release. Because you have the criteria to go on. You can, so the test matrices is where we store all the data. It's a wiki page for now, and when you test, you go to the test matrix and you can fill out what you tested. I kind of would like to show you that. Has anybody not seen it, the Fedora test matrix? Yeah, okay, let's see. Let me see if I can do this.
Should I skip? Come out. Go back to the slides.
Okay, boom, boom, boom.
Escape. Is it closed? Yeah. Now click on.
Has anyone else had trouble with the network, or is it just me?
Network is down.
We are in a technical conference.
It's common in houses.
So it's a technical conference, therefore the Wi-Fi will not work.
So if I'm the only one who didn't see the test matrix, it's fine to just skip it. I can look later.
Okay.
Can pass you the links.
Yeah, we will put this onto. I think we could do that. Can we? Oh, here we go. Okay.
You can bring it closer.
I saw other test matrices.
So, for example, this is the latest test matrix page. The last compose was the August 2nd. Yeah, so it's a little old. But here you can find what needs to be tested and on which release, the base, the server, the cloud, the desktop. And so here's links to all of those images. You can find the x86 64-bit image here for all of these on the left, as well as ARM, 6432, PowerPC, and S390X. But this is a good example of what a pass test looks like, what a failed test looks like, what a warning looks like. The robot means it's an automated test. And then each of these links will link you to a bug or a comment. So you can see here that Coconut the bot had a failure here, the size of the workstation live image, which that's what this test is here, was larger than, what is it, 20 gig, 2 gigs? I don't know.
Is this page automatically generated?
Yes, yes, and it's generated with each release, each compose, yeah.
It's generated from template.
Yeah, from the template that's probably, I don't know where it's hosted. But so say you want to test something, you'd come here and, oh yeah, let's pick this one. So these are test cases under the storage devices category. The milestone that this test must pass is final. So in order for us to ship final, somebody has to test this and say that it passed. Ideally on final, but for some things, specifically this FCOE case, if it has been tested fairly recently, that's good enough. So that does lead me to something else. If anybody here has fiber channel over Ethernet hardware and you'd like to donate some time testing, that would be great, because I think that gets tested once or twice each release. So, but anyway, so you'd pick what you'd want to do, and you can load it. It gives you a description of what the test is, how to set up for the test, how to actually test it, and the expected results that you should see. And assuming that that all passes, then you can mark the test as passed or failed or whatever. Do you
So
want to
does
add
it mean
anything?
anyone has the right to edit this table and a check mark that it passes? Or?
Anyone with a Fedora account. Actually,
Pass account.
yeah. Actually, I think anybody can try. I'm not logged in. We can try it.
You're not logged in.
I'm going to try it here without being logged in. Yeah, so I guess anybody can,
Okay.
which might be something to think about in the future. I don't know.
So, but I think it's a kind of wiki, so you see in the history who made an edit.
Right, you would.
It was an issue in past, so
Just keep
I
going.
don't expect.
I think in this case, he entered his name, then you can see code module, but let's say I'm running through a proxy and I'm editing and I'm not entering my name. There might be
Understand
chances you...
some ideas.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I mean, we've been doing it this way for years and years. If it becomes a problem, we'll deal with it then, but until then,
Our grandfathers used this.
My sister's dog also.
that I would like to see.
Is the answer
He
on
does the
Do you,
FCOE
do you have
system.
anything you want to say?
Not on this one.
Okay.
Looks like
That's maybe the weakest. But
So then another way of testing is by reporting bugs that you find. Has anyone not seen Bugzilla? Get out.
If you find,
So you've all seen Bugzilla. You all know that that's where we track bugs. I won't go into it.
Maybe he wants to see.
Does anyone want to see it?
He has not seen.
I think,
Do you-
We'll show him later.
I think better should be just editors. I know,
Okay, so you can go ahead.
Another way to help contribute, it's not testing, but is by attending the Blocker Bugs meeting. So come maybe a month before the branch point, we will start to have Blocker Bug meetings where we discuss bugs that have been marked as blockers or violating the release criteria from the first slide. And we will all vote on whether we think that it violates the criteria or not. And that is where we determine if it actually is a blocker or if it's a freeze exception. And that's a good way to contribute and a good way to initially get started because all it takes is a knowledge of the individual bug, which you can find on Bugzilla. And you just read through it and you read the release criteria and you make a judgment call whether or not you think that it violates the criteria or not, and be prepared to back it up, because sometimes it gets passionate, and if you can do that, then that's a good way to contribute. Another way to contribute is to act as the secretary in those meetings, where afterwards there could be anywhere from 1 to... Tim, how long was that meeting that you had that set the precedent for...
Was it 9 hours? 8 hours?
Yeah, that was one.
There's no
Sheesh.
reason we don't do that anymore.
If you have...
That will never happen again.
How many bugs did you guys go over?
I don't remember. This was like Fedora 18.
But a lot, or
Either that or there's a lot of discussion or both. It's probably both.
yeah. So you can have a lot of bugs or a few bugs, but the secretary will go through all the bugs afterwards and mark whether they were accepted or denied, and a brief blurb. And that's another good way to just contribute if you want to get involved and get your name out there. That'd be a good way to go. The third way to really contribute is through updates testing, which is testing individual packages that are in the updates testing repository. You can permanently enable the updates testing repo, and when you're full-time QE, that's what I do personally, is I permanently enable it, DNF update, and then I run through Fedora Easy Karma. Whoops. Here's how you can enable it. But Fedora Easy Karma is a tool that we have that can tell which packages you have installed versus what is in the updates testing repo. And so you update, you test it, and then you can report using this, Fedora Easy Karma. And yeah, that's key. Just a config. Has anybody not seen Fedora Easy Karma? Let me show you that, just so you have an idea.
Yeah, but it is network.
Yeah.
Okay, that doesn't matter if there is no network. Just a question. Does it mean it somehow automatically fills in the karma in body?
Yes, yeah,
Well, not automatically.
right.
Basically, it figures out what you have installed on your system that's in updates testing, and then it will iteratively go through and prompt you for feedback.
Prompt for feedback. Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Looks like it might work. It's a lot easier than going to Bodhi.
Yeah,
And
it's
doing it manually.
Yeah. Okay, well, don't look at that, because...
You need to update Easy Karma first.
Yeah.
For anybody.
Okay, yeah.
What is missing?
It's an old version. Did Python, did we update?
DNF updates for Easy Karma should be enough. There is a new body release. And internets.
It's got a little. network. You want the last 7 minutes? I think. We'll come back to this. We'll let it do its thing. Of course, it disconnects. What the heck? Okay.
You guys have like 2 minutes left.
Okay.
So regarding test days, I think we have the official pages. We usually get the announcements for upcoming test days. You test for the kernel, you test for updates, upgrades, and so if
I think it's this one. If you go,
don't open, I don't know.
I think it is. It's just hidden. It's behind the terminal. So if you, maybe not.
Not this one. It's not opened.
Try it now. Originally, Suprith had wanted to do a talk like this that was 50 minutes long, and I had said I will do this talk, and it's 25 minutes long. And then when it came around to it, Suprith's talk was not selected, but mine was. So we decided to collaborate and each take half of the 25 minutes. So we had a lot more that we had to cram.
You're at time.
What?
You're at time.
Oh,
Oh, okay. So yeah, so we have Fedora 31 upcoming, and so the kernel test day was announced recently. We just go to the wiki page, follow the steps, and do the testing. I've already started, and so we have Sumantro here who does the announcements usually. So apart from test days, I think. So do you want to speak? Do we go to the end?
And when I said time, as in the time slot is complete.
Thank you.
well,
And
thank you.
this is the checklist for you to be getting started with your Fedora QE. Make sure you have all these things, and we have this Fedora, IRC list channels for Fedora QA, Fedora. You just join and search for people. You can search core module or Suprith over the channels. We are there to help. We have Sumantro here. And for the mailing lists, you can join test@fedoraproject.org. For any questions, you can put over there.
We know we're over time, but
Thank you. Any questions we can take if we have?
we could show you that here if you're interested.
Just a
If
question, what is the selection of platforms for testing? Because, for example, several times in past half an year, I launched an EC2 machine from the latest Fedora compose, and it simply didn't boot. So I was, let's say, concerned how this is working, that there are AMI images for EC2 instances, like provided by Fedora team, and these images, like not so rarely, are even not able to boot. So, but if we are out of time,
EC2 is a blocking, it's not. So that's why.
I even didn't see it on that list. So.
If
It doesn't. If it's on the list, it doesn't mean that it's blocking. So there are some images are blocking. That means that if they don't work, you can release it. But there are like KDE, but for example, I'm not sure.
Some.
The list some
XFCE,
for example, it's there. You can test it. It would be nice if someone would, but it's not release blocking, so it's not as important for the Fedora QA because it takes a lot of time to test all the stuff which is blocking and which is really needed to have tested. So there is a lot of things not tested. I think that I'm not sure if that one you mentioned is blocking. I don't think so, but it could happen, and maybe it is.
yeah, that's what I thought.
If it doesn't work, then it's a problem. Yes.
Was it a rawhide?
Yeah, and
Compose?
it depends on when you shouldn't happen. Yeah, mostly.
I think it was stable release, so it seems there is no testing for this. Like it was 29.
EC2 gets complicated for a lot of different reasons.
It's
I'm not
tested.
I'm not trying to make
There are some
excuses, I'm just
technologies
trying
which
to
are really.
explain. I mean, it gets complicated because there have been issues in the past with getting images in a place where we can understand and define them, and then who's going to pay for the testing on Amazon, and then getting someone to do it who knows what they're doing and all that kind of stuff amongst all the other things. So it is something that has fallen through the cracks in the past, which is what great research help. So yeah, I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just trying to explain that's a lot of what's happened in the past. I believe the image uploading is more reliable now than it used to be.
But still, there is a lot of technologies and stuff, hardware
Platforms.
here you don't have, so we depend on the community to test them. It would be ideal to have some bigger community which would test such test cases which are hard for us. For example, the knowledge you have to test all the stuff is really wide.
So if I'm understanding correct, this test matrix exists for each and every compose. So if I find next time
Yeah,
EC2
for chosen one
vendor
which
is-
are which have some bigger differences or new packages which are important, for example, not for every.
Not for every.
Yeah. The most important one are for those like beta compose, RCs and so, but yeah, from time to time there is some new metrics, and it would be great to have as much as
I pulled up the test days page if you want to go through it.
Could you expand the Amazon
You
Web
won't know
Services,
this
Jeff, please?
Say that again?
Could you expand the Amazon section? What's written there?
Yeah.
See, get an alias account,
These are blocking.
but
I
it's
mean,
like, because for example when we are testing the server, I don't understand all the stuff, so it would be great if the server seek would be more interested in have tested compose, so it's on them mostly. We try as best as we can, but they are the ones who understand those technologies. It's the same with the AWS, for example, EC2. So
but if you find out that it's not working, so
yeah, it's good to
report it.
this is right where you reported
Right
the
to
base
the-
startup, right
the
there.
QA can,
if you weren't able to.
And
That would be great.
ideally create Bugzilla report and mark
Yeah,
this as
yeah, yeah.
local bug.
local bug and
That's about it. Yeah, that it would be great if people like
Geoff,
at least
have you shown
fill the
local
bug.
bugs page or not?
It seemed like everybody. Oh,
We're now about 10 minutes over.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
about 10 minutes over.
should we? Should we?
never
It's-
mind,
it
it's
depends
the
on if you're
latest
gonna
talk and
Is
it's
it?
It depends if you're trying to make the tour. They may have already
It's
left.
good, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow and Saturday.
Tomorrow or
No, there's a walking tour tonight.
That's Saturday.
Is it? Oh, okay. Never mind.
Saturday.
Today there is some different languages and stuff.
Karaoke, right.
It's presentation basically they put a bunch of random slides together and you're supposed to get up and
Okay.
present
That's-
on
that's-
on random slides you've never seen before.
so it's not singing.
You
That
can
is a presentation technique you could use.
Yeah, you can sing the presentation.
Maybe I'm
Why don't you talk about it? We've got
Either
the
and
people
or-
here. They're interested.
Welcome
You want to?
Sure.
Okay.
No one will be interested now.
Any other questions, or do we want to see the Bugzilla page? You-
Thank you.
yeah. All right. Well then, let's call it a day.